Perfect. All right, cool. All right, let's start then. This is the, in some ways, this is the most important lesson um, that somebody can learn. I, I'm trying to, we'll see how much we get to cover today. I hope I will at least cover the basis of it. I do think that eventually I'm gonna need to. I had a plan for that. I just record a series of videos. Maybe we'll make them available on the Patreon. A series of videos explaining all those things with just a little bit more shortly, and without me getting lost in the woods like I do when I just talk freely. Unfortunately, this is not always my forte. But I'm going to do it eventually with exercise and stuff, but we're going to try and start fleshing now today. Okay. So, like I said last time, and like I always say, 3 areas of music, 3 questions, and one is harmony, one is rhythm, and one is tone, which is like dynamics and stuff. Dynamics, articulation, everything that has to do with tone. And today we're going to start figuring out the basic idea of rhythm. And the same way with harmony, the way that we want to approach it is we want to understand what's going on most of the time, and we want to have concrete tools to use when um, when encountering music, right? When you encounter new music and different styles, different grooves, different tempos, we want to be able to play the right thing on it. So what I notice immediately when I hear people play is, I guess, when you talk about rhythm, A, that were inaccurate, and B, yeah, A, that were inaccurate, B, that a lot of the time they don't understand what's the basic subdivision that they need to be playing over the songs, and C, how limited is the the subdivision vocabulary that they have. And the amazing thing about it, that's kind of like the harmony, there is not that much that people are doing. And if you're going to listen to famous people and we're going to touch that, you'll discover they don't do that much, but the stuff that they do, you want to be able to do. And most musicians, and I'm talking about like almost everybody, is falls there. Most musicians don't get to the point where they play. Even, I'm not saying great rhythm, I'm saying the correct rhythms. And I was trying to think also, one of the things that I always think about with students is, what level do I want people to get to? Like, what's realistic? So I try to think about myself as an example when I do jujitsu. Um, I'm not gonna be a jiu-jitsu competitor in my age. I started too late, and I also am playing saxophone and I have other stuff to do. And I actually don't go to jiu-jitsu competitions, even though people try to coerce me, because I don't want to get injured for a stupid medal. And it's just not worth it. So I'm not gonna be it. So the question is, okay, I'm not gonna be Gordon Ryan, which is like the top jiu-jitsu guy, or Roger Gracie. But does that mean that there is no reason for me to do jujitsu? I think not. I enjoy it. It's fun. I get to do it with people, and I can still kick people's asses that are half my age, which is 20, half my age, and are similarly in better shape. And I can choke them out, and I can enjoy myself doing it. And there is a big difference also. Also, obviously, it makes me happy and relaxed. I'm a pretty relaxed guy, but if I don't beat people up, it makes me less relaxed. And I like it. And the same thing is for music. Okay. When when you're a little bit older, you have a job, you have kids, you have things you're doing, you're not necessarily trying to aim to be the best musician ever in history of music. But there is a baseline that there is a level that would make it kind of a waste of time, and a level that would make it not a waste of time. And for me, musically, you want to be, first of all, able to play it enough that you can enjoy it and play it with other people, right? Not just play it alone at home. And then you also want to be in a level that you sound, you don't need to sound amazing, but you need to sound like you need to have a lot of good moments, and you can, and things that you can discover for your own, right? And it doesn't mean that you actually don't have to shred. You don't have to invent any complete new style. That doesn't make you playing meaningless. I actually think that music uh, is is a great pastime, and one of the things that actually makes me a little bit, bummed out about music, that it's not community based anymore like it used to be. Like there are almost no jam sessions. It's not that common to go and jam with people. And it used to be that's what it used to be like. You hang out and you play a little bit and you hang out. And I wish there was more of that. And I think that the level that you kind of want to get to is that you feel comfortable going and jamming and playing a little bit with people that you know and with people that you don't know. So that's why when I talk about the harmony and what I was saying last time, it's like most of the stuff that people teach is, to me, it's not relevant. Like it's basic, it's barely relevant to me, and I would say that it's not relevant for most people studying. Like it's not. This is not the level you want to get to, and it's not gonna integrate itself in people's playing that are looking to get into that level, which I think is most musicians. Definitely most musicians that are hobbyists slash semi-professionals. And thinking that, I think one of the main thing, like I said, obviously that hinders people is the rhythm, because people just are in the talking about getting in the woods. People are just in complete woods when they start playing rhythmically. They just do things that make no sense to anybody, and that's no matter how much you're gonna work on the other stuff, if you don't have the rhythm down, like you will never get anything down. Okay, so with that long introduction, let's start. Did you guys ever hear about the concept of subdividing or subdivision? All right, do you guys wanna try and maybe give it a go and explaining how you think about it, what it is, like definition wise? Yeah, no.
Well, I know some people struggle with putting 5 on 4. Newer
Yeah.
guitarists.
So that's, to me, that's 5 on 4 is that's polyrhythm, right? So when I talk about, I'll tell you what I talk about when I talk about subdivision. When I talk about subdivision, I'm taking a beat. I want to see you guys be able to see my fingers. Here we go. I'm taking a beat. The beat is the amount of space between this line and this line, and I divide it into equal parts. So if I have, let's say notes one, let's say I have 8 notes, what we call 8 notes. Let's say quarter note. It's a full one note per this entire thing that fills the entire way. So ta 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 ta. If I have 8 notes, I'm taking this space. Imagine it's a ribbon, and I cut it in the middle to 2 equal parts. Okay, so if my beat is 1, 2, I have ta ka ta ta 1 2 1 2. I can also cut it into 3 equal parts. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. 4 equal parts. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. 5 equal parts. Tadikinatum, 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 tadikinatum. 6. Takita, 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 takita. 7. Takademi, takita, takademi, takita. 8. Takademi, 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 takademi. 9. Takita, 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 ta. Okay? So I'm taking it and I'm dividing it into equal parts. Now, when I talk, just to step back a little bit, when I talk about rhythm, there are basically 2 schools of thoughts. One school of thought says we're gonna base, like I said with scales, it's not everything you play. There are exceptions that you can make, but we're gonna base our playing on playing subdivisions. And the other school of thought says I'm gonna play freely over the beat. Freely over the beat is if I'm talking. A lot of blues players do it. And I'm talking and I'm just translating to music. So, for example, I woke up this morning and I had myself an egg. I woke up this morning and I had myself an egg. I woke up this morning and I ran out of eggs. Okay, and it doesn't have to correlate to the beat. Like I kind of feel it, I feel the groove, and I talk over it. The same thing that I say about harmony um, is true for rhythm. If I play outside of a song all the time, which means outside of a beat, everything at the end of the day sounds the same. It's not like I have endless possibilities. It's like all my possibilities sound the same. If I play out all the time and it's really dissonant, all my solos are the same pile of same shade of brown. And if I play over the groove, I can play the groove. I can play against the groove. I can go out of the subdivision, come back to it, but I am constrained by what the groove is. So that's why I like the subdivision approach. Okay. Now, the first thing that we want to do to feel comfortable is learning how to sing all the subdivision between 1 and 9 into one beat. Right now, it doesn't have to cycle in one beat. Like you talked about subdivisions, polyrhythm. Polyrhythm is when it doesn't cycle in one beat, and we can talk about that. But the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to save a subdivision between 1 and 9 in one beat. That's a good base, right? Now, when we're playing, we actually are not going to play everything between 1 and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 is insanely usable. Do I play 5 sometimes? Yes. Do I sometimes sneak in a 7? Maybe. Do I play 9 sometimes? Yes. I love playing groove in 6. So if I have a groove that goes like 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, so I will play takita 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 1 to C 1 to C 1 to C 1 to C 1 to 1 to C down. So I kind of like take half of it and divide it into 9. Oh, so yes, is it usable? Yes. Do you do it a lot? No. You're gonna cover 99.9% of music doing the ones that I said, but it's a good way to know to feel it and then to recognize it with other musicians. So we're gonna use Solkatu, which comes from Indian music, and we're gonna learn how to do it. Then we can go to ChatGPT and destroy the water. My wife gets annoyed that I use ChatGPT all the time because she's like, it's destroying the water. But I was like, yeah, but I wanna tell them how much I'm lifting, and then it can tell me what my next set should be. So ChatGPT, and you like just give me random numbers between 1 and 9, and then you learn how to go between them. And I'm gonna also give you guys a good tip of how to start doing it. Here it is. You guys can write it down. Whoever listens and listens later in YouTube, write it down. 1 is ta. 2, ta-ka. 3, ta-ki-ta. 4, ta-ka-di-mi. Okay, so it's ta-ka-di-mi. 5, ta-di-ki-na-tum. Can I write it down in a message that you guys can see? I bet you I can. Here we go, because I'm going to do it in lessons. Ta-ka, ta-ki-ta, ta-ka-di-mi, ta-di-ki-na-tum. Okay, now we're going somewhere else. Now 6, we're going to try and start doing permutations of what we already have. So 6, I would say for the beginning, divide into 2 threes. Takita, takita. But you can so takita, 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 tam. Now it can also be takademitaka, 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 tam. Or taka 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 tam. Tadikinatum, tatadikinatum, 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 etc. Those are called groupings. We use them to make interesting phrases, and we use them to learn polyrhythms. That's next step. We're not thinking about it now. 7, takadimi, takita. Takadimi, takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi, takita, tam. All right, takadimi, takita. Good. 8, takadimi, takadimi. Let's do 4s. And 9, 3, takita, taki, yeah, takita, 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 takita. Now, this is the way you want to start working on it. And this is like one of those little pieces of advice that I think is a game changer, I think, for people. Because I know I had students that learned it before or learned a version of it before, and they would always get stuck. Like the way they would approach it, they would put a metronome on, and they would try to fit in the 5, let's say, between the metronome, right? But we're gonna start it with the opposite approach. We're gonna say it because it's very easy to say stuff in time. It's very easy to not say tadikinatum. It's very easy to say tadikinatum once you get the syllables. Tadikinatum, tadikinatum. Actually, naturally, we say it in time. We don't say it out of time naturally. Naturally, that's, again, if you do any sports, you know that changing speeds is one of the hardest things for people to do. So we say it in time. So what do? Instead of fitting the 5 into the clap, we clap into the 5. Tadikinatum, 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 tadikinatum. Tadikinatum, 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 ta. And then we learn how it feels. And then we take the metronome and we start switching between them. But the first thing we do, we clap to it. Ta-ki-ta, ta-ki-ta. You can even just say it. Ta-ki-ta, 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 ta. And then you just clap to it, and then you feel out what it's like. Now you can obviously displace, you can do ta-ki-ta, ta-ki-ta, ta-ki-ta. It's endless. You can take 2 beats and do it on top of it. You can do all that stuff. Endless stuff. Not the most relevant for to us right now. This is not the most urgent thing to learn how to play stuff. The first thing, 1 to 9. All right. Any questions? Any thoughts? Anything so far? Yeah.
Not a question, but just a comment. As you've been teaching over the years, isn't it interesting how some people have natural rhythm and some don't? And like, let's say you teach someone a basic blues scale on a 1-4-5 progression. It's interesting how some people can, once they know the scale, how to, whatever instrument they're on, they have the natural rhythm and can manipulate the scale in their notes, and others need to focus on this because I've seen with my own students, they'll overplay or they play outside. Like you mentioned earlier, the 2 ways of playing, it's almost like you have to either have this rhythmic in you naturally, born with it, or you have to learn it before I think you can play freely. Method 2 that you mentioned. You know what I mean? It's like, because if you don't have the natural rhythm and you don't learn the rhythm, you're always going to wind up ending with the extra notes, or you're outside of a bar line. You know what I mean? You're running over, and you're not in time. That's just a thought from what I've seen with my own students.
I think that everything that you do in life, you have some things that come to you more naturally than other things. But I think that you're running into the risk of getting stuck and stagnant and missing a lot of basic things if you
Yes.
don't look at it in some sort of an analytical way.
Yes, I agree.
So
I've had to do that. It's like filling in potholes later, right? If you learn naturally, you teach yourself, which I did by ear, but you miss a lot of the fundamentals of things, and so you've got to. Then you will get stuck. You will hit like in a labyrinth. You'll hit walls, and you don't know how to get around them. Then and you've got to back up and go back to basics, and then work your way through it. That's what I've noticed with my own learning.
You see it with blues players or metal players sometimes that try to play jazz, but it's like they played some stuff that came naturally to them in that style that they understood is even after a lot of years. I know a guy, I'm not gonna name him, but I know a guy that's a pretty famous musician, and he was very good in one style, and when he tried to switch over to a style that's not that different, to fusion, and it's just not cutting it.
Right.
And the reason is not that the guy wasn't talented, he has more success than I probably will ever have, but it's not it's his talent and his what came naturally to him does not cover this. And sometimes with a little bit of extra knowledge and a little bit of kind of exposure in variety, because you know a lot of stuff with music and life, of course, but in music is not us physically doing it differently or even us learning new material. A lot of times it's just us looking at something from a different angle and then we get it. I know for me, I was just talking about it last week on the lesson because somebody his favorite album that we did was Aggressive Hippies in 2015, and he was talking to me about some of the solos. And to me, some of the solos that I hear now, I just like I said, subdivisions. I didn't understand what the subdivision that works the best on something like that. Now I'm not alone in it. If you hear, you don't hear a lot of saxophone solos or guitar solos and stuff like that. But when you do, you hear a lot of people that to me now are missing it. So it doesn't mean that you can't play a good solo. Like I'll give you an example. What's the Scott Henderson album with Dolomite? Like Tore Down House? Is that the album?
I'd have to look it up. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's an amazing. The first song is amazing. I think Dolomite is the first song, and it's amazing. And then some of the songs there, obviously it's Scott Henderson, so he makes his vocabulary and what he does and his understanding work. But when I hear it, I'm like, he doesn't understand the subdivisions of a specific group that he's playing on.
He's just forcing things that sound like they work compared to your knowledge.
It works. It works. Same thing with the theory. It works in the sense that he did it and he thinks it's fine. But you know, I believe that if I showed him, you know, obviously, you know, it's like Scott is not going to listen to me. But if he wait as well, oh, admit one guest. I'm trying to admit somebody. All right. I don't know. It said admitted. Maybe I waited too long. Anyway, hello, Mark. All right. So we're talking about rhythm today. So you're gonna have to jump in on some of it. If you have a question, let me know. But I'm talking about Scott Henderson, and then to me, you can hear that he's not touching the subdivisions because if he would view the music like that, he would touch them. And it's nothing technically that he doesn't know how to do. It's just the way you look at it. And I think with a lot of people, just opening up their eyes to the things immediately makes them better and makes them do it. And that's honestly with the lesson today, I hope that it's gonna do it for some of you guys on at least some grooves. That's why I'm gonna try to run through it a little bit just so we can get to stuff that's really practical and that you can actually practice and do it. So the first thing we said, I'm just repeating it for everybody. First thing we said is we subdivide with the syllables that I have. I don't know, Mark, can you see the text messages that I have, or can you only see what happens from now on? Like, do you see that there are messages? Yeah, I'm going to say hi. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you see all the messages I had before I said hi or no?
No.
No. Okay. So I'm gonna put it up. Here, I'm gonna put it up for you. We're using the Indian system Konakol to divide. To subdivide. Subdividing means cutting into bits into equal parts, and we use those syllables to do it. So ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, kita, ta, kita, takadimi, takadimi, tadikinatum, tadikinatum, takita, 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 takadimi, takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi, 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 takita, 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 tam. Okay, so we're doing that. I explained that the beginning, you don't want to fit it into a metronome. You want to say it in time, which is easy, and then fit your clap into it. So I go taka, 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 taka. Takademi, takita, takademi, takita, takademi, takita, takademi. Oh, it's 7, sorry. Takademi, takita, takademi, takita, takademi, takita, takademi, takita, ta. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to do. After we do that, take a metronome, different speeds. That's another thing. People don't take into account that as people we're a physical being. We're not just spirits floating in space. We get used to physical motions, and if we keep practicing in 92 BPM and not in 93 and 94 and 95 and 96, we're gonna pull to where physically we're used to. So wanna change up the rhythms when you say those and change up the beat, and then you wanna start saying it over songs that you're hearing, and you wanna listen to music and you wanna listen to solos, and you want to try and figure out what subdivisions people are playing. That's very important. That's a crucial element. You want to figure out the subdivision. Okay. Now we're gonna move to the next part, which is the next part is probably the most important part, and one of the big secrets. We're gonna have 3 big secrets today. So one of them was to say and then clap. Next one. We have 2 types of grooves, generally speaking, in almost every type of music. It's swung grooves and straight grooves. Okay? Swung grooves are grooves that are divided to 3 and 6. Straight grooves are grooves that are divided to 4 or 2 or 8. Somebody wanna give me an example for a swung groove?
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
Yeah, I meant more like swing or blues, but yes, like
Yeah.
shuffle. Yeah. So grooves, for example, blues shuffle. Tum tu kan tu tum tu ka tu ta 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 ka ta 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 ka tu tum tu ka pa pum pu ka tu tu ka tu tum. Now, I'm gonna hopefully have time today. If not, I'm gonna do it in a different one. But I explain the different types of swing. But the groove itself is divided to triplets. Yes, swinging, you don't just do triplets, and I'll explain what you actually do, but the groove itself divided to triplets. Same thing with just jazz. Dog, walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the dog, walk the tum. Okay? The underlying rhythm is triplets. Now, what does it mean? It means that if I see the notes, ta, 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 let's do it slower so you can see. So ta, 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 ta. Let's do blues. Tum, tum, tu, tum, tu, tum, tu, ka, pa, ta, tum, tu, ka, tu, tum, tu, ka. Tum, tum, tu, ka, tu, ka, tu, tum, ka. Then the groove is based on the first triplet and the third triplet. Tum, tu, ka, tum, tu, ka, tum, tu, ka. Okay, following me so far? Any questions? All right. Now, if I fit my notes into 1, 2, or 3, which also can be double or triple, but 1, 2, or 3, it's gonna sound like I'm riding the groove. I'm playing the groove. So, to ka, to ka, to po pe potato to bu pa, pu de do pe bow. Ka to po pe potato. Taka taka ta boom. To the pam pam. Okay? That's the groove. We can all feel the groove. If you guys played drums, you can jump in immediately. How do I know it? Because a lot of times when I do jazz gigs, I just start playing and let the band jump in. And if I wouldn't be able to jump in, it would be very embarrassing because then I would be just playing alone like a fool for 5 minutes. And I have to say, I do it in clinics when we teach in colleges, and I take somebody that I don't know how he plays, and I even did it in high school clinics when I just take a kid that not necessarily plays so well and I start just playing. And by that time, we're already in ta ka tu te the ku tu tu the ku te ku ka. Okay. Now, if I take this and I play 2 or 4, and obviously 5 and 7, but we're dealing with a 99.99999%, okay, or 99% or 95%. I take this and I divide it into 2, equal 2. So ta ta ka ta 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 ka 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 ta ta ka. It goes against the groove. And listen, when I sing it, listen how you feel. Like it's like you feel the tension. It's rhythmic tension and release. You feel the tension, and like you're falling down the steps, and then you're back. And there is nothing that I'm playing on. I'm just conveying the groove. I'm singing, then I'm flipping it and going back, and you can feel it. So tu pu di bu di da putu pidu pa pati putaka taka 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 1 2 1 2 pa pati di budu ba tan tan. Now let's do 4. Tu puti putera tu do de da do da puti de da putu te kukapa putaka de taka de daga 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 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 taka de mi ta 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 taka de mi ta ta taka de mi ta putu de do tem pum tu tum pa tu te kukao. And even though I'm singing, there is horribly, of course, I'm horrible at singing. But even though I'm singing, and there is nothing backing me up, you guys can feel the groove and you can feel the tension when I'm all going to 4 and hop, and you can feel the release when I'm going back to 3. Okay? And the basic thing you want to do when you're playing, you want to play the groove and you want to play against rhythmic and release it. Now, before I give you time for questions, we're going to end to think about, we're going to go to the straight grooves like funk or rock, AC/DC. Sorry, one more thing. Another example of grooves in 6. In 3, in a swan groove. Swan groove is I like to like the Indian. That's red line. All right. Now let's go to straight grooves. Now I'm singing 2 and 4. Sounds like I'm home. Sound like I'm grooving. I'm gonna go to 3. It's literally the same feeling what we just had, only when we played the 4 and the 2s over the 3s, right? And then it's just, so the first thing you want to be able to do before you play any song in any groove, you think about this. You're like, okay, what is the groove and how it's subdivided? And then what do the subdivisions that I play sound over the groove? That's the first thing you want to do. You want to be able, now the way you work on it, you can, when you listen to music, every song you hear, be like, okay, is this a swan groove or a straight groove? And then start singing the subdivision on it and see how it sounds. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you what, usually you need to find where the right subdivision where everything kind of fits, and then you double it, you half it, and then to create tension you go a little bit before, you go to 2, you go to 4, or the other way around, you go to 3, you go to 6, and it's really is the main thing. And I can also tell you another thing, but we're talking about how people feel comfortable. Daniel, you're talking about that. I can tell you, I'm going to give Danny as an example. So, let's see if he sees it. He claims that he watches the lessons that I'm recording. That's what he told me, but I don't know if it's true. But we played. I remember we played some jazz together. No, wasn't jazz. No, we played Depot. I don't know if you guys know the Depot. Depot is a Marvin tune. It's a 3-chord blues. Tan tan to do 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 boom boom boom. And the subdivision that he based it on was the 16th note because it's kind of slow. So it's do 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 boom. And what I noticed from listening and also listening to records of myself, that actually if you take it back, that's the strongest subdivision. You don't want to be stuck there too long because it's kind of slow, but the strongest subdivision for the song is actually halftime. So like let's say blues to do boo be boo de boo ba boo do boo de da de de down to de the boo bip boo de de boo da 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 de. And even if you play do boo de da boo do da da ba ba boo do de ba boo de a pa pa boo de da da ba de do be do boom bam. You don't want to create a situation when you never touch the subdivision under it of the groove. So to me, that's and obviously when I was like, hey, I noticed that you're not really touching it, I was like, oh shit. And then obviously it's doing it immediately. That's what I was talking about when you have a kind of way that you see things. You sometimes just need a nudge, and when you see it in different light, and it changes your playing without really that much need of practicing. Any questions, any comments, any remarks before I keep going? Yeah.
I was gonna say, when you mentioned Henderson not touching the groove, that's, you can obviously identify it in players where if they even touched it once or twice, it's almost like they're hinting at you that, they know where they're at. But
Yeah.
if they don't and they're just running through it, I think that's what you were saying. Like you can identify that they're just running over it. They're playing through it, but they may not know where it is.
Again, if you're as good as Scott Anderson, you can make it work.
Sure.
But it's also missing a key element. If you listen to also a lot of saxophone players from the 60s and 70s, when in pop music, like Ray Charles, he has Fat and Newman. I don't know if I'm sure you guys know Ray Charles, and I don't know if you know the saxophonist by name, but I'm sure you heard the saxophonist play. He's a great saxophonist, okay? But you can tell that this guy grew up with every groove being a swung groove, which why wouldn't he? Basically almost all the grooves back then were swung. Like if you go up playing jazz and blues and then R&B, everything is swung. And you can tell that when Ray Charles, I forgot the name of the song, but when Ray Charles has a straight groove and there is a saxophone solo, it's like he's eating it so badly, right? And it's true for, by the way, a lot of the greatest saxophonists, like Campbell Adderley, Sonny Stitt, a lot of the jazz saxophonists, when they went to play fusion or went to play with rock people later, you can tell all of a sudden it's like they can't play in time, they can't play rhythm, nothing works.
Unable to adapt.
And it's not because they forgot how to play, it's because they're used to playing on a certain type of groove. And when you switch it up, they don't. One of my favorite stories, sorry, at least you guys don't smell it. One of my favorite stories was, by the way, I started they put me on this really intense cholesterol medication that breaks my brain. I'm actually stopping to take it, but that breaks my brain. So I don't remember any names. Oh, David Foster Wallace. Okay, David Foster Wallace. He has a commencement speech, and it's a great commencement speech, but he started with one of my favorite stories that I used to tell on dates. That's how I got all the ladies. It's two young fish are swimming in the ocean, and they ran across an older fish, and the older fish tells them, good day fellas, isn't the water nice today? and then swims on his way. And one of the young fish is looking at the other young fish and says, "What's water?" And the point of the story, of course, is that sometimes we don't understand the reality which we're the most immersed in. Okay, so like the things that the more we're in something, the less we can notice it. So, for example, if you grew up in a crazy family, it's very hard to know it's a crazy family. If you grew up in a different country like I do, and you come to the United States, then you're like, okay, I notice a lot of things that you guys don't notice, but then I also notice a lot of things that people in Israel don't notice because they think that's just the way things are. Right, and that's true for everywhere, and that's like what's the water, and that's the true for the people that grew up listening to something and were playing on swung rhythms, and when the rhythm changes, they don't even understand what they don't understand. They just can't see it. Okay, so like I said, you want to identify what groove you're playing and what it sounds like over the groove. The saxophone solo on Respect, the Aretha song, I think is also, I'm pretty sure, is eating a lot of shit. But that's a problem with talking about saxophone with guitar players, because you guys like listening to Pink Floyd and you're like, this is such a great saxophone player, and he's like, he's not a great saxophone player. He just was a friend. Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard Danny's rant about that he just did. He showed me to me before he posted it about networking, and I was about to tell him that it's only half true, because it's not true that people hire the best people. They hire the best people that they know and like to hang out with.
That's true. That's true.
Because Danny is the best guitar player I've met, and it's not like people are calling him all the time. His schedule for teaching is insane, but the schedule for playing, he does some stuff, but it's not as even close to as much as somebody on that caliber should be busy as far as playing and touring. Like, yeah, he does some stuff other than Marvin once in a while. He doesn't really want to do stuff other than Marvin, but once in a while he does it. But it's like for somebody that plays that well. It's not like when I look for somebody, I look for the best player online, and then I try to find, like get them. Unless I'm looking for a new guy for Marvin. To me, it's just I don't know, somebody that that's unrelated. I'm in the woods. Let's go back to what we're talking about. All right. Any questions? Any more comments? Remarks? Anything?
What about Mark Rivera?
Which one?
Mark Rivera?
I don't know who it is.
Billy Joel?
Oh, Billy Joel guy. Yeah, he's great.
Okay.
I love this guy.
I mean, you blasted on Pink Floyd, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, that guy is awesome. He's good. The guy that plays Tom Waits is good. Obviously, Brecker plays with Paul Simon. But you know what? I actually think that mostly the Brecker solos with Paul Simon are not as great. Like Phil Woods plays with a song called "Have a Good Time" by Paul Simon, and the end of it there's a saxophone run that's killer, and it's not Brecker. It's Phil Woods.
How about Kenny Garrett?
Kenny Garrett, I used to really like him, I will admit, but I can't listen to him anymore. I will admit. Listen,
Marsalis.
I went on Marsalis. I need to beat his ass. That's the reason why I'm playing soprano and ruined my life. I need, if I see him on the streets, it's on site. That's why I'm playing this. It's horrible. It's a horror. You really destroyed my life. But yeah, of course, I like Brentford. He also has an album called Trio GP that he plays tenor on. I usually don't love his jazz albums, but he has a jazz album called Trio GP that I think is really good. Yeah.
Illinois Jacquet. Illinois Jacquet.
Oh yeah. Honestly, older guys I generally like, but also they. Again, they have limitations. But I do like the older guys better. There's something about the playing I like better.
Sonny Rollins.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sonny Rollins is the one guy that every time that I hear somebody playing him, like or in a coffee shop or a venue, I'm like, dude, this is fucking killer. What is this? And it's Sonny Rollins. And then I go and listen to it at home, and I was like, I don't want to listen to it. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Coltrane and Sonny.
I don't know why. I don't know why I can't listen to Sonny Rollins. I
Oh, I
know,
love
I don't
him.
know what's wrong with me. Yeah, but obviously I can play. It's like, but yeah, my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
are, like I said, Sonny Stitt, Charlie Parker,
Sonny
Uh,
Stitt.
yeah. Sonny Stitt on Tenno, really underrated. Anyway, I'm wasting your time with this. Let's get to the last
So I
sequence.
do have a question real quick before we
All
get
right.
too far ahead. So
Yes.
getting back to doing the Sokatu on top of like a swung groove, you're not swinging those subdivisions in doing that, are you? Because you're talking about doing those as straight, but then when you try to do that over the top of a swing, you're having to swing those subdivisions.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about that's what I was about to talk about.
All right, perfect.
All right. So this is like I said, lesson that I wish somebody taught me 20 years ago. Okay. And like I'm saying about everything, it's not like there are no good ways to go around without knowing it, and also doing stuff that's kind of like in between. There are ways, but it's good to understand so you have a good foundation to where you're coming out of, and also to have a good way to analyze what people are doing. Okay, so the way I look at it, there are basically three types of swinging. One type of swing, which I'm also going to tell you an anecdote from Rod. One type of swing I call the happy bouncy swing. It's when you play exactly the triplets. Do dog walk the dog walk. Do di di do do po do po po pe po do po di do po do pe pop. Okay. Cannonball does it sometimes. Other people do it sometimes. It's not the most common, but it is very useful to me as an effect. I just did it. We have a song called Slow Fingers. I did it, and I started the solo like that, and then Danny talked to me in the van in Hebrew, and he was like, "I don't like what you did, but it sounds kind of clownish." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the point." And then our drummer from behind, not knowing what we were talking about, I won't tell you, but I loved when you did that. Put it. I was going with the drums, and it was awesome. So it's a matter of taste. I think it's a good tool. I think you use it. Actually, Danny does it a bunch when we play jazz. He just didn't like it on fusion, which is it's fine. And then he said, then after that, he was like, just don't start the solo like that. So I was like, I'm not gonna start the solo like that, no problem. But okay, so that's one type of thing, bouncy. Second type of swing, swampy swing. You play a little bit behind the beat, and you play the notes a little bit straighter. Now, countless ways to do it. Everybody has their own way. That's what we're talking about. One way. That's what we're talking about. To dog walk the dog walk the dog. Boo boo bee boo bee do do dee dee boo do dee do do bow do bee ow boo do boo do dee dee do do boo do boo do 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 dee boo do 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 dee do dee do do down ba ba do dum ba do da do dee do boo dee dee ah boo do dum do kum boom bum bum bum. Swampy swing. Third, double time swing. That everybody does it wrong. Not everybody, obviously, not everybody. A lot of people. I actually taught it to my brother, which is jazz pianist, and it blew his mind. He was like, "Oh my god, I did it wrong all the years." He's 52, and he's like, "I did it wrong for 40 years." Double time swing is literally that, double time swing. What do people think it is? People think it's 16th note because they visually see the 16th note. It's not. It's double time, which means it's sextuplets, and you play the first and the third. So it sounds like so like confessing. All right, so can you play 16th not straight? Yeah, same way you can play straight 8th notes, or you can play more straight 8th notes to make it kind of go against the groove. But when you talk about double time swing, You're talking about the bouncy thing. And you can actually hear that a lot of musicians, oh my God, what's going on with me? A lot of great jazz musicians, they would kind of pull on the swung 16, they pull on the swung 8 notes and make them swampy. And then when we switch to double time, then they make it bouncy to kind of make it like push and kind of feel like, whoa, and then back. And same thing, by the way, with fusion, which a lot of people will play the 16th note, like we'll give it a little bit of stank. What's all we're talking about? And when we go to the 32nd note, it's like, it's right on it. And so you want to play with it. But those are really the three types of those are the three ways to swing. And everybody does a mixture of it. And I feel like almost everybody that I talk to notices very quickly that they do they miss at least two of those types. And like I said, it's not about what's right and wrong, it's about what it sounds like. Now, if you play 16th note over the swung grooves, what happens? It's like I sang you guys, it's 4/3. It sounds like a lot of rhythmical tension. Now, you listen to a lot of saxophone players that listen to Coltrane, or guitar players even, that listen to Coltrane a lot, and they never swing it when they play double time. They only play 16th note because it's always tension, because that's what we're used to. Now, like I said, it's a tool. Do you want to use the same tool all the time? The answer is no. You know, you're not playing only one type of music, and you're not playing only. And even if you do, it's like you're not the first one to do it. You know, the thing with music and finding out new things, I always say it's like carving your own path with a spoon. And then somebody comes after you and they're like, oh, that's not that hard, you know? And it's true. Like there is a saxophone player named Baptiste Herbin, okay? And he has great technique. I always tell it to Danny, and he goes to listen to those people, and he's like, I don't know, why is this great technique? It's like, well, because it is on saxophone. He has great technique. He reminds me of Matteo Mancuso of saxophone. That's how I call him. And he has great technique, and he can play Charlie Parker solos in every key. Believe me, Charlie Parker could not play Charlie Parker solos in every key, right? It's much easier to go and see what somebody did and do the same thing. Okay, it's much harder to come up with it. So, you know, I'm not saying, oh, Coltrane played this thing, or that this guy played with this thing. Yes, those guys, and Scott Anderson too, by the way, found a lot of new ways to play music, and we're coming, and I'm not judging it. I'm saying, yeah, it's like we're looking at it, we're not there anymore. So we're going to try to figure out what they're doing. We're trying to figure out how to have good tools to play stuff at work, and then, you know, try to find, you know, to play around in the, to take our spoon and try to find some stuff with it. Did that answer your question with the swinging? Kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, yeah, when you sing on top of it, you can just see how the subdivisions sound on very equal, and then you can play with it and see what it sounds like. And like I said, it's not like people don't do the other stuff. There's more stuff which I would already put in rhythm 1 or 2. Like, to me, everything today is rhythm 101, which means this is the basic. You want to be able to do all that stuff. You want to be able to analyze solos this way. You want to be able to analyze your own playing like that. And you want to be able to think about what you're playing and what you're not playing. And like I said, I bet you that if you're going to go now and see the songs that you're playing, you're going to be like, oh, I'm missing a lot of subdivisions. Or like I'm playing... I'm going to give last example for my playing, which took me years to figure it out. Years, I swear. Like we playing like grooves that are so a lot of way jazz people play it, they will just play against all the time. We'll play 4, tum ka to tum ka, takadim 1 2 4 1 2 4 2 to key to pump, and then a lot of. And the way I play it, sometimes I played some of that, and I played and then I played obviously faster. But to me, those grooves, the main subdivision, to ka, is just the to boo dee da boo doo doo ba boo doo doo goo boo dee boo boo be ba ba taka 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 doo be taka doo de taka doo doo be ba dee de taka taka da po 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 pe po taka ba pa pa taka taka doom ba dee dee da, like you want to go there, and I missed it, and I just missed it, and I just didn't see it, and then after years I saw it, and I was like, shit. And now I love playing that kind of stuff because I have so many rhythmical options that I don't have if it's just like a straight 4/4 groove. And that's why, by the way, I love playing songs that are in 6, because I know Greg heard me talk about it, but like one of the things that I like to do on songs that are in 6 is if you listen to Messy Mark, I don't think I did it on the album, but maybe I know I did it on the Sweetwater stuff. And I have a lot of stuff to say about that, but I'm playing stuff like the groove is toom ka, which I thought would be cool to write a song. That's why I wrote it, because like it would be cool to write a song that people think is just a 4/4, but when the melody comes in, it's actually in 6. So taka 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 ka, and I take the toom ka, and I divide to not just 2 and 4, not the 6, which is taka 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 demi taka, and then taka demi ta 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 ka ta 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 ka ta ta taka demi 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 ta. I divide it into 8, which I really like, but I never heard anybody does on sax on guitar. Only heard drummers do it, and I heard a drummer do it, and I was like, oh man, that's sick. Let me figure it out, and it took me a second, but anyway, that's enough about me. That's all right. Do we have any last questions before we're done with the thing today?
So when you do your counting, you're doing the Takadimi, right?
Yeah.
And you play. I mean, when you go to a swing beat, you swing those notes.
Yeah, it's basically 6 couplets. You feel in takita takita. I told you feel the Indian groove. Because it has the bounce to it too. I'm a big proponent of every subdivision has a certain dance and physicality that you want to kind of feel it in your body. And sometimes you want to feel it in a different place. Like if you play fast swing, like you want to kind of hold it in your stomach. Right? If you play like more, like you feel it in your shoulders, like everything. I'm not saying it has to be in that part of the body, but every subdivision, I'm trying to give it some sort of groove to kind of correlate to the groove that's going on, and also kind of ride the wave with the people. And when you do it, the advantage of doing it, I've been trying to really be aware of it, and kind of not playing on top of stuff, playing like in it. The advantage of it, that I feel like it sounds really cool, like when you do it and it feels really good. The disadvantage is if you mess up and go out of it, it's very obvious. And everybody's like, you messed up, you suck. Boo Marvin. Well, the band, not just me, but yeah. They don't know my name probably. But yeah. So I try to do that. You've been to shows, Greg, Okay, any other questions? All right. Cool. All right, so we'll be done for today. I'm going to upload the video. I feel like I gave you guys a lot today. I feel that's a good 101 long lesson. And we're going on the road. I don't know if you saw, I've been posting on Patreon and everywhere else to try and get people. Every time we go, I swear, every time I take a video and a picture in a coffee shop, and we're in Cincinnati, we're in Houston, and every day I have people that are like, "You're in Houston, dude." I'm trying to work through the slope. Okay. Anyway, on that happy note, we'll let me know if you have any questions later, and thank you guys for hanging out.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Nick.
you.
Thanks very much.
And the call. It won't let me.